Right, Beech class, this is my final maths learning video for our main activity. And what I'm looking to do in this video is kind of use and apply and put together those counting skills that we've been looking at so far in the week. So far this week, you've been working so hard to practice and fine-tune and become fluent at counting forwards and backwards in tens and forwards and backwards in ones. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to show how if you've got those skills, and you can use them in conjunction, that means working alongside a blank number line, they can be really useful for accurately adding and subtracting. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, I'll start with some really nice simple ones. I've got two calculations. I've got 55 add 6 and 55 take away 6. Let me model for you how I want you to set out your work. Okay, and I really want you to try, if you can, to copy and emulate this exact way of working. Number one, you draw yourself a nice big long number line. I'll grab myself my pen. You can do this on a whiteboard and pen if you've got one, or scrap paper if not. I'm going to start with my starting number there. In an addition sum, the larger add end. So my larger add end here is 55. So I'm going to put 55 there in the middle of my number line. I'm then going to look carefully and see this is an addition sum. So I know that I'm going to be jumping forward along my number line. My second add end here is 6, so I know I'm going to be jumping forward 6. Okay. Then I just need to practice that skill we're working on. I'm going to put 55 in my head. I'm going to count on 6 in my fingers. And the number I get to is going to be the sum in this calculation. 55 goes in my head, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61. It took me up to 61, so I know that the sum in this calculation is 61. 55 add 6 equals 61. Okay? That's how I want your work set out, please. Okay, with subtraction, it's very similar. Again, with a subtraction problem, I'm actually going to start with the minuend. Okay, so the minuend in this calculation is 55. Then I'm going to look, see it's a subtraction, so I know I'm jumping backwards. I'm going to jump back to the subtrahend, which is 6. So I'm going to take away 6. And it's going to leave me with the difference. So I'm going to put 55 in my head, subtract 6, 54, 53, 52, 51, 50, 49. I was using my fingers there. Okay, nothing wrong with using your fingers for this method of calculation. Okay? Okay, so the difference between 55 and 6 is 49. 55 take away 6. Oh, excuse my funny 9 there, it's 49. Okay, so you can see that if I'm jumping forwards on a number line to add, or I can jump backwards along a number line to subtract. Now, it gets slightly more complicated when you start adding two-digit numbers or subtracting two-digit numbers. But actually, if we just use the skills we've been working on, this should be absolutely fine. So again, in an addition sum, I'm going to take the larger add end and put that on my number line. Now, what I'm going to need to make sure is for this 13, I'm actually going to split it into two jumps. I'm going to jump a 10, I'm going to jump a 3. Okay, so I take my 32 and I jump forward a 10. And I'm going to record on my number line where we get to. Now, if you look back, this is all about adding on 10 skills. Okay, that ones digit is going to stay the same. The tens digit is going to get one more 10. So there won't be 3 tens, there'll be 4 tens. We're not adding any ones at all. It's the same. So 32 add 10 equals 42. And then, if I want to, I can cross that out once I've added it. I'm then going to add on the 3. So then 42 goes in my head, 43, 44, 45. Oh, sorry, I need to put that in there. Okay, so the sum in this calculation is 32 add 13 equals 45. All I did was I took that second add end and I partitioned it into its tens parts and its ones part, and I jumped them on separately. Okay, to make it into nice, small, manageable chunks for me. Okay, exactly the same applies when I'm subtracting. I'm going to start with the minuend, 32. But when I subtract the subtrend, I'm going to split it into its tens part and its ones part. Okay, so now I'm going to subtract the tens part first. Okay, and again, because we've been working this skill, it should be nice and easy for us. We're not going to change the ones digit at all because that doesn't change. We're just going to make sure there's one less in the tens column. So there were 3 tens, there's now 2 tens, and there's still 2 ones. Okay, I can cross that if I want to. Now I'm going to jump back the ones part. So I'm going to take away 3. So 22 goes in my head. 21, 20, 19. Using my fingers there. Nothing wrong with using your fingers in this method of calculation. Okay. There we go. So 32, take away 13 equals 19. Okay. The only thing I did slightly differently was the subtrend. I split it into its tens part and its ones part. Okay. One more pair of examples I'm going to show you before I let you have a try it on your own at these. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you can see the difference here is, here the second add end and here the subtract end are slightly larger. But you know what? It's not going to be a problem. We're going to work it out. Okay, so I'm going to start in this addition sum with the first larger add end, which is 58. Now, all I'm going to do here is, rather than thinking of it as 31, I'm going to think of this number as a 10, excuse my funny writing here, a 10 and a 10, oh, I fit it in, and a 10 and a 1. So rather than 31, I'm not going to try and jump back 31 in one go. I'm going to try, sorry, jump on. I'm going to jump on 10 and 10 and 10 and then 1. Okay, so I'm going to start by jumping on a 10. Now, if you want to, you can record where you get to here every time, or you can skip that stage. I'll leave that one up to you. Jump on a 10, jump on a 10, and jump on a 10. So I'm going to jump on the 3 10s first. Okay. So I'm going to use the counting on 10 skills we practiced earlier. So 58 takes me to 68. Takes me to 78, takes me to 88, and I am going to record it there, so I need to hold that number in my head. So I am definitely going to record that number there. So I've added on 10, I've added on 10, I've added on 10, and now I just need to add on 1, which takes me up to 89. There we go. And that's the sum in my calculation. The sum in this calculation is 89. The only thing I did differently was I broke this second add end into a 10, a 10, a 10, and a 1, because that gave me nice, easy, manageable chunks, and it's things I've been practicing already this week. With subtraction, exactly the same again. Okay, 58, we're going to break it into a 10, a 10, a 10, and a 1. Okay, I'm not actually going to write those down because it just takes me so long. You guys can do that. Okay, so I'm going to jump back a 10, another 10, another 10. Okay, so that represents the 30 part of that number. So I'm going to use my counting back in 10 skills: 58, 48, 38, 28. And I am going to record that down there because I need to hold that number in my head. I don't want to forget it. Okay, so I've jumped back 10, 10, and 10, and now I'm going to jump the 1 part. So I'm going to take away another 1. So it's going to take me from 28, it's going to take me to 27. Okay. Now, I want you to have a go at this. Okay, I've set you a load of problems. I'll put them up there. The problems get progressively harder as you work the way down. Okay, so start at the top, use that technique we've just been looking at, and see how far you get. If you get right the way down the bottom and complete all of these, including these worded ones at the bottom, give me a shout via the email and I'll send you some more challenges to have a go at. Okay? If you have any problems or any worries with this, don't hesitate to contact me. I'd love to help. Okay, good luck, guys.